share with you guys. So, the first one is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. So, this book makes me so mad, just so mad, but I feel like it has some really important historical lessons and historical facts that are just important to know, and it's just a good book to read. It's extremely sad and it fills me with rage when I read this book, but I do think it's a very good book for everyone to read. So I'll read you the back. The unforgettable novel of a childhood in a sleepy southern town and the crisis of conscience that rocked it. To Kill a Mockingbird became both an instant bestseller and a critical success when it was first published in 1960. It went on to win the Pulitzer Prize in 1961 and was later made into an Academy Award-winning film, also a classic. Compassionate, dramatic, and deeply moving, To Kill a Mockingbird takes readers to the roots of human behavior, to innocence and experience, kindness and cruelty, love and hatred, humor and pathos. Now, with over 15 million copies in print and translated into 40 languages, this regional story by a young Alabama woman claims universal appeal. Harper Lee always considered her book to be a simple love story. Today, it is regarded as a masterpiece of American literature. Yes, and for good reason. If you never, were made to read this for school or anything, definitely check it out. I don't want to give it away, but it does take place in the South, during a very politically heated era, and some really, really terrible things happen in it, and it's kind of from the perspective of a really young, little girl. She's learning some, lessons that are really hard for all of us, all people, things that just enrage you, but change isn't always keeping up with what our hearts would like, so it's a good one. It's a really good book. I actually haven't read it in a while now that I'm thinking about it, and I might start reading this again. Okay, so the next one is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer is also great, but I feel like that one is more common, more people have read that one. I feel like less people have read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And this one is just as good in my opinion. Huckleberry, what a great name. I love Huckleberry. huckleberries. They're so good. They're so, like, uniquely flavored. My parents sent me that huckleberry tea recently. If you guys saw my Make Tea With Me video, you would have seen that in there. But yeah, if you've never tried huckleberries, try to find some, or at least something that's flavored like it, because it's a really, like, unique flavor experience. So this is by Mark Twain, of course. Mark Twain. So the back says, slavery was cruel, but it was the law. Huck Finn grew up along the Mississippi in the days of slavery. Huck was a homeless rebel, a boy who loved freedom more than respectability. Huck isn't above lying and stealing, but when he meets up with Jim, a runaway slave, he has a battle with his conscience. Jim tells Huck that his owner wants to sell him to a slave trader downriver for $800. Jim wants to go north to a free state. If he helps Jim escape, Huck knows he'll be in serious trouble with the law. But can he turn Jim in when all Jim wants is to be free? I really like a lot of Mark Twain's writing. He just has really, like, easy to read. It's easy to follow, in my opinion, especially for being, like, such an old writer. Sometimes books written, like, a very long time ago can be a little bit difficult to read, in my opinion, just because, like, the way they used to speak was, different, and it can get hard to read. Like, Shakespeare is a little bit hard for me to read. Certain authors tend to be harder, in my opinion, but I've always liked Mark Twain, the way he writes. Okay, so the next one, this one's really old. It's Jane Eyre. It's by Charlotte Bronte. I really, really love this book. There's lots of, like, movies or TV series about, based on this book. But I really think reading the book is worth it. So I'll read you the back. Mystery, romance, deception. Orphaned in childhood and despised by the cruel aunt who is her only known relative, Jane Eyre has no one but herself to trust. Unaided by money, family, or beauty, Jane relies on her intelligence and integrity to help her survive. After Jane secures a position as a governess in a mysterious, beautiful Thornfield mansion, she becomes deeply enmeshed with her moody employer, Mr. Rochester. But Rochester guards a dark and terrible secret, a secret that will force Jane to choose between the principles that define her and the only love she has ever known. So, this is mostly a love story, in my opinion, but there's, like, a huge mystery going on in the background. And this sort of reminds me of The Secret Garden a little bit as well. I wish I could have put Pride and Prejudice in this book collection, video because I would absolutely include that as one of my favorite classics. But I have no idea what I did with my copy of it, which is like disturbing because I love to read that every single year. I have it on Audible as well, so I can listen to it, but I need to figure out where that got off to. I also need to get like a hardback version of it. I know this feels like super long, but it's really good. Like it's worth it. It's worth it being that long, I promise. Oh gosh, I have lots of highlighting in here because my senior year of high school I took, it was like advanced English literature or something like that. It was an AP course, and this was one of the books that we had to read for that course, and this was like my actual copy of it that I had in high school. And I like did a lot of highlighting for whatever project I was working on for it. Okay, so then this one, oh my gosh, this one is so good. This is a tale of two cities by Charles Dickens. This is my favorite book by this author by far. Of course, he has others that are way more popular that I don't even need to mention because you guys probably all know. But this one is my absolute favorite. This takes place in London and in Paris during the French Revolution, and it's so good. It definitely, has some gross, like, gory parts that are probably not necessary, but we all know the French Revolution was pretty gory, so if you like the movie, like Les Miserables, then you would probably like this book. So, I'll read you the back. They fled to London seeking safety and found each other. Dr. Manette, falsely imprisoned for decades, his daughter Lucy, whose stunning beauty was matched by her loyalty and grace, and Charles Darnay, who abandoned a royal title he hated to risk being called a traitor in France, a spy in England. Together, their love touched the hearts of even stodgy banker Mr. Lorry and cynical, jaded lawyer Sidney Carton. But in Paris, the fires of revolution exploded in uncontrollable fury. The noble goals of freedom fighters became the crazed bloodbath called the Reign of Terror. And when 3 exiles returned home on an errand of mercy, they were trapped in a nightmare of mock trials and mad rage. Once in Paris, nothing could save Darnay, Lucy, or Manette except a miracle. This is so good. I want to read this again. Like, just reading the back now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to read this. This one I actually think I read in college, or maybe I might have read it my senior year of high school and then again in college. Yeah, I think I did. I took a lot of English classes. Okay, so I've got 3 more. This one, of course, is a classic. It's Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. It's both of them together in one little teeny book. I got this book when I was living in London in college for study abroad. I got this at a really cute tiny little bookshop in Oxford. So I'll read you, it's like the inside little flap. When Alice tumbles down a rabbit hole one hot summer's afternoon in pursuit of a white rabbit, she finds herself in Wonderland, and here begins the fantastical adventures that will see her experiencing extraordinary changes in size, swimming in a pool of her own tears, and attending the very maddest of tea parties. That's a tea party I would totally want to attend. For Wonderland is no ordinary place, and the characters that populate it are quite unlike anybody young Alice has ever met before. In this imaginary land, she encounters the savagely violent queen, the largemouth mock turtle, the laconic Cheshire cat, and the hookah-smoking caterpillar, each as surprising and outlandish as the next. Through the Looking Glass continues Alice's bizarre adventures, in which she meets more outlandish creations, including the Red Queen, the White Queen, Tweedledum and Tweedledee, Humpty Dumpty, and the White Knight. So, yes, love this so much. Look at the illustration. Oh, isn't that just so cute? She seriously looks like she's just standing in a deck of cards. Absolutely love this copy of it. Okay, so next up, I've got a super old one. This is the oldest one here, I think. This is The Inferno by Dante. And this one is just really interesting. If you've never checked this out, super interesting ideas on what hell looks like. It is really hard to read, though, I will say that. Like, this is one of those authors I was talking about where I'm like, what are you saying? Like, I need to look words up and stuff sometimes. So the immortal drama of a journey through hell, belonging in the immortal company of the works of Homer, Virgil, Milton, and Shakespeare, Dante's poetic masterpiece is a moving human drama, an unforgettable visionary journey through the infinite torment of hell, a supreme expression of the Middle Ages, a glorification of the ways of God, and a magnificent protest against the ways in which men have thwarted the divine plan. One of the few literary works that has enjoyed a fame both immediate and enduring. The Inferno remains powerful after nearly 7 centuries. It confronts the most universal values, good and evil, free will and predestination, while remaining intensely personal and ferociously political, for it was born out of the anguish of a man who saw human life blighted by the injustice and corruption of his times. Intense, right? Like, this is not your beach day reading, okay? Like, don't bring this to the beach with you. I mean, you can, but it might be a little intense for a beach day. We read this. It was a signed book for one of my philosophy classes in college. I went to Gonzaga. It's a private Catholic college, and you have to take so many credits of philosophy. It was a lot. It's a lot of philosophy, which I don't mind at all. I actually really enjoy studying philosophy, like just learning about all of the different, ideas. But this was one of the required readings, and I'm so glad I read this. Like, it was actually really, interesting. Just really got me thinking about things I'd never thought of before, or like thinking in a way that I hadn't thought before. course, like, I didn't watch them until, I think high school, but a lot of people, I think, have seen these movies. But if you haven't read the book, oh my goodness, highly recommend. It's so much better than the movies, in my opinion. This writing is raised. It feels kind of nice. Look at this dragon, like, guarding his hoard. I love this cover. This is like my dog Winnie, except that she likes to hoard hot laundry. As soon as I bring the laundry out of the dryer, I dump it on the couch to fold it, and she jumps on top of it and, like, buries herself in it. And as I try to pull things from her to fold, she tries to, like, hoard them underneath herself even more, so I can't get at them. So this is Winnie. Okay, so J.R.R. Tolkien's own description for the original edition, that's what's on the back. If you care for journeys there and back, out of the comfortable western world, over the edge of the wild and home again, and can take an interest in a humble hero, blessed with a little wisdom and a little courage and considerable good luck, here is a record of such a journey and such a traveler. The period is the ancient time between the age of fairy and the dominion of man, when the famous forest of Mirkwood was still standing, and the mountains were full of danger. In following the path of this humble adventurer, you will learn by the way as he did, if you do not already know, all about these things, much about trolls, goblins, dwarfs, and elves, and get some glimpses into the history and politics of a neglected but important period. For Mr. Bilbo Baggins visited various notable persons, conversed with the dragon Smog, the Magnificent, and was present, rather unwillingly, at the battle of the 5 armies. This is all the more remarkable since he was a hobbit. Hobbits have hitherto been passed over in history and legend, perhaps because they, as a rule, preferred comfort to excitement. But this account, based on his personal memoirs of the one exciting year in the otherwise quiet life of Mr. Baggins, will give you a fair idea of the estimable people now, it is said, becoming rather rare. They do not like noise. So, yes, absolute classic. Love this so much. I want to read this right now, actually. I might do that. I might go sit in the bathtub and start reading this. Okay guys, well that was all the books that I wanted to show you guys today. I hope that you liked this video and that you were able to relax. If you did like this video, please don't forget to leave a like and please do subscribe to the channel. I would love to see you back in my next video.